Yo, hello, good morning, and welcome to the Coffee Run Live, episode number 395. Holy Toledo, you guys, holy Toledo. Now, I wanted to just very quickly talk with you about the very fabulous, oh my gosh, don't get too close to that camera, Nicola. The very fabulous 30-day challenge that is starting on Monday. You need a group of the most ridiculous and amazing people all doing one thing, and that is ramping up our activity over the next 30 days. So what I've found over the years that I've been running this on and off, and particularly over the last 8 months since I've been running this, is that people like you and me, we've got big dreams, big goals. It's really easy to get to procrastinate. It's really easy to get distracted. It's really easy, hey Rebecca, to not necessarily do the things that we say that we are going to do and then follow through. So part of the reason that I put this 30-day challenge together and decided to run it again and open it up publicly is because I've seen and heard a lot particularly over the last month since this crazy COVID situation that we've found ourselves in, is that people are a little bit more scattered, right? Heads kind of going everywhere and this, that, and the other. And I think it's really important for us to be as productive as humanly possible. And one of the ways that one of the big things, there's a few things that I put down to my success online. I've done millions of dollars in sales online. I've been doing this for a really long time. One of the huge things that I've found that I always come back to is having this really solid plan, having a way of working through it, and then having some accountability. And for a lot of people, that accountability doesn't always have to come from external. It can come from building that internal discipline, but that takes time, right? So external accountability gives you the ability to then build that muscle for internal discipline and internal accountability. And that's what this whole 30-day challenge is all about. We're also throwing in a content challenge in the mix of it as well, which is really exciting. So if you're interested in joining the 30-day challenge, we start on Monday. The link is in the comments in there. It's nicolajmorass.com. You will find all of the details. If you have any questions about it, be sure to let me know. I would love to answer them for you. Now, the other thing that I really wanted to talk with you guys about today is something that infuriates me beyond belief. And this is the comment of nobody's clicking like on my stuff. Nobody's commenting. Nobody's doing things. Good morning, Carmen. People aren't interacting with me on my page. And I guess what this kind of comes back to is what we're measuring or what we're looking at, what we're actually paying attention to. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, right? It's awesome. I love the shit out of it when you guys comment and when you share and when you talk to me, because otherwise it feels like it can be a very one-sided conversation. And as much as I like speaking, I love the interaction. So hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, interact with me, talk to me, come, bounce back and forth. I love the shit out of that. But the thing that happens is a lot of people, particularly when you're first starting, is you can get really hung up on the numbers. So the number of fans you have, the number of followers you have, the number of people on your email list, the numbers of people who are clicking like and commenting and sharing. Hello, Evie. Good morning. A memory came up of you yesterday, actually, 3 years ago. And I was like, wow, how is that only 3 years? And wow, that 3 years has flown. I think it was 3 years nearly. To the day, I think, that you were up here in Mildura in an event with me. So lovely to see you this morning. So I guess the thing is that we don't want to get caught up in the vanity metrics. Now, Facebook is an advertising platform, right? If we look at Facebook, it's an advertising platform. So what they're going to do is they put out these little notifications into your eyeballs, in your news feed, in your page, in your page manager, and it will say boost this post and reach blah blah X number of people, or this post is doing 95% better than any of your other posts, pay this amount of money and boost it and get more reach. Now, if you have created a piece of content where you're giving away something for free and you're going to get a lead for it, then you could consider doing that. But other than that, I would not be boosting anything, right? The number of people who are visibly engaging with your content is not always a true representation of what's going on. Now, I know there are a lot of you that come in, you watch my stuff, you take it in. I know because you tell me privately through email or through private messenger. You will message me and you'll say, oh, I really love that coffee run, or I really like this thing that you did, or, you know, how did you do this? Or where do I find this information? Or I've got this question. And that's amazing. But a lot of the time, you guys will sit there and, you know, I see your names come through. Good morning, Margaret, like what I'm saying now. And the thing is that not everybody comes in and does that. I can have hundreds and thousands of people looking at my videos through the week, and you'll see the number of comments that are on the videos aren't always huge, right? Sometimes there's only 2 or 3, and I can kind of go like, oh, maybe that was a really shit video. Like the live stream that I did yesterday, I was battling a migraine. That wasn't really bad just yet, but it was, I had a migraine, and I didn't feel like the video that I did yesterday was of the most amazing quality, and it wasn't as insightful as I would normally be, and it wasn't as articulate as what I would normally be, but I felt like I had this commitment to showing up, and I actually nearly pulled it down. Didn't think it was my best work. And I suppose with that, you know, and the number of people that engaged and commented on it was probably not as big as what it would normally be either. And if I had been perhaps less experienced, I might have made up a story like what I know some of you do, because I've spoken with you about it, where it's like, people don't like my stuff. Why aren't people engaging? Why don't they like this content? Like, maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree. Maybe I don't do this. But the fact of the matter is, and from my statistics that I have worked through of my clients and my people, I would say that 75% of people that I've worked with have not ever commented on my live streams. They have never shared it, but they watch it. They consume it, they internalize it, they watch, they listen, they hear, and they read every piece of content that I put out there, right? And there's a lot. So maybe it's not every piece, but they obtain all of their stuff, right? And I think the thing with this is that a lot of people will sit in the background and they will just watch and they will absorb. 2 reasons. Number 1, because they might not want to be seen yet, right? And then the second thing is that a lot of you know that when you go and comment on a post, on a live stream, sometimes what can happen is that your comments get shown in the newsfeed of your friends, right? Now, that's really great for me as a business owner. So Margaret, oh, thank you, you're gorgeous. She said, you're amazing. I love that you're unapologetically you. Thank you very much. It was very waffly yesterday. I was really not happy with it, but anyway. Some days you're on fire and other days you're not, right? So as a business owner, yeah, that's right, Carmen. As a business owner, when you guys comment on here, it's really excellent for me because it'll show sometimes, not all the time, and I'm not sure how the algorithm always works, but when you comment on it, it can show in a newsfeed that Carmen has commented on a post, and it shows to her friends. Now, what's great about that is that some of her friends might be like, Nicola's a badass, I'm going to go and follow her. Or they might be like, what is Carmen on about? Let's go check this person out. Or, you know, maybe nothing happens. Oh, thank you, Carmen. I didn't feel like I was on fire yesterday. I actually took myself to bed. How's this? I took myself to bed. I took a migraine medication, oh golly, at maybe about 12, I think, and because it just got progressively worse and worse, and I was still trying to just push through it, like, I can do this. It got to 1 o'clock, I'm like, my words were not working. There was so many errors in my copy. I'm like, I've just got to go take myself to bed. I could say, I don't think I've taken myself to bed sick. I felt sick and had a huge migraine. I don't think I've done that for maybe like, I don't know, 6-7 years. It's been a really, really long time. So it was really interesting. So that was that kind of thing. I felt like it was just building up. So it's interesting, the self-talk, isn't it? It's like anyway, the lens that we look through, or that I've looked through. So thank you for being so kind. So I think for a lot of your clients, or for a lot of your prospects, a lot of your audience, a lot of you will notice that you may not get a whole lot of visible engagement. You might not get a lot of likes. You might not get a lot of comments, but it doesn't mean that people aren't watching. So I had one client in particular who, beautiful lady, very well qualified in many, many areas, hugely and widely respected in very lots of professional circles. And she followed me and stalked me for like 7 years before she even commented on something. And actually, I don't think she even commented on anything in social media. She joined a webinar of mine and she saw that, and she was commenting in the webinar, because like in a webinar, it's like a private space, right? It's not public. It's not where every man and his dog can see what you're talking about. So in this webinar, she was talking to me, and then I got on the phone with her. And she said, yeah, Nicola, like, I know you. I've been following you since you started. And I'm like, I've never seen your name pop up on my comments or my screen or even via email. She said, oh, no, that's because I don't comment on anything, because I don't want everybody to know what I'm doing. I've gone, wow, okay. So she's been following me since 2010. She didn't buy from me until like 2018, I think. So it was a really long time that she'd been following me. Now, that's not normal, right? It's not normal for people to follow you for a decade before buying from you, but it does give you insight into how people's behavior sometimes is. They can be absorbing everything you put out. They will, if you choose to believe it, they will absorb everything that you put out. They will tune in, they will listen, they will be motivated, inspired, educated. They will sit there. Like, I know some of you right now are sitting there going like, yeah, Nicola, like, I've seen this. Yes, I agree with you. Yes, yes, yes. Like, and you might be nodding as you're going along. So that's an internal engagement. Facebook can't measure that. Right? They can measure the watch, they can measure the view, they can measure how long you've been watching for, but they can't measure what you're physically doing or what you're mentally doing. So if you're like sitting there like, yeah, exactly, yep, I get it, great, I'm in, you know, I'm so with you, hey Geordie, you know, that there's no way of being able to actually measure that. So the thing that I want to remind you of is that not everybody is going to visibly engage. So don't worry about it, right? Measure the things that you can measure, and only measure the things that are actually really important. And the things that you want to measure that are important is the frequency that you're going out there, that you're putting yourself out there. You want to measure the number of leads that you're generating. So how many people are subscribing to your free stuff? How many people are you building relationships with, visibly able to build relationships with? You know, they're the things that you want to be able to measure, right? And you've got to trust that when you step into who you are and you show up and you do that, that people are going to be on board and they are listening. Assume that people are listening. Don't assume the negative. Like, too often I see and hear people like, oh, you know, but nobody's listening to me. Well, how the fuck do you know that? You know, instead of believing that, what's the flip side of that? The flip side is that everybody loves listening to me. So in your journaling processes and in your reaffirmation processes, continuously affirm, people are engaging with me, people love me, people are absorbing everything that I put out there. People know as soon as they come into contact with me that they need to work with me, that they want my brand of crazy or my brand of awesomeness, that they want me, they need me. That's what you guys need to be affirming every single day. And then the more you start to do that, the more you start to see and feel that momentum building. The other thing that you've got to remember is that you've got to have calls to action that you're putting out there at different times as well, right? Because the people who are sitting there going like, yeah, this makes sense, I get it, and I get it. And they can be pouring through all of your content, absorbing it all and loving it all and, you know, being completely besotted with you. But if they don't know how to take the next step, hey, Shan, they don't know how to take the next step with you, whether that's buying something from you, whether it's commenting, whether it's sharing, like, what do you want them to do? Tell them what to do. You know, the stuff that I love the shit out of is when you guys share these videos, or when you comment, when you let me know how it's impacted your lives. So, you could ask them to let you know how it's been helpful. You could ask them to buy something from you. So, hey, I've got my 30-day challenge is starting on Monday. You guys should totally be in it. If you know that you need to ramp up your social media, if you know you need to ramp up your confidence and your visibility and you need to step into your spotlight, it is going to change your life. I can guarantee you of that. It will change your world. So that could be something in your realm. What's the equivalent? What do you need them to do? And then that can be a way of activating that audience member, right? So they don't have to comment publicly. You guys, you don't have to say, oh my God, that 30-day challenge, that's freaking amazing. Well, it is naturally because I created it. But if you're sitting there going yes, 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 and then the next thing you might do is go and have a look at the link and then go ahead and buy, you don't have to publicly declare that you're doing it. I'd love it if you did, but you don't have to do that. So, it doesn't require... Your audience aren't required to visibly engage with you in order to buy, in order to download something, and in order to be activated. But your job at all times is to show up and to let them know how it is that they can take that step that next step with you, should they choose to be doing that. If it's appropriate for them, if the timing's right, if the time is right, if they've got the money, blah, 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 blah. All of that stuff that we know goes on. So don't stress your head over the things that don't really matter. I think that's the bottom line for all of this. And, I get questions all the time about how you increase your fans and how you increase your followers. And really the best way that you can do that is by showing up, adding value, and letting people know how the fuck they can subscribe with you. How can they access your free stuff? How can they build those relationships with you? How can they get to know you? And the only way that they can do that is if you keep being present, and if you keep showing up, and if you keep speaking your truth, and if you keep delivering the message that you are here to deliver. Measuring engagement is a bunch of bullshit, really. It's a way for Facebook to make all of the money, which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But at the end of the day, you could have 25,000 people clicking like on your stuff. It doesn't mean that they're going to buy if they're not your right people, if they don't want what you've got, if there's a marketing message mismatch, then that's not going to work either. Measuring these things are really not important. Okay, so measure the things that are, and that's your level of activity and the numbers of people who are being activated by either giving you their information to get something for free or to buy something from you. It's really all that matters, the dollars in the bank, yeah? And the number of lives that you're impacting, obviously. I think that's pretty important. So there you go. I hope that's helpful. I trust that that's helpful for you. If you have any questions about this or anything else, let me know. As I mentioned, again, the 30-day challenge is starting on Monday. Yes, we are up at 6 a.m. I know it's early, but if you've got that down, and think about this, what I love is when people tell me, and this happens every single time, they tell me that they've got 3 times the amount of work done because they will get, in a month, they will achieve what would normally take them 3 months. And it's not just about the getting up early, but it's a combination of the planning process that I step you guys through, which, if there's something that I put down, I think I shared this earlier, if there's a couple of things that I can put down to being really successful online, number one is this planning process. It is something that I can absolutely tell you that if I wasn't doing this process, I would not be as successful. There's no way. Because it provides a bit of a safety net, it helps me just to kind of work through, but also keep things really achievable. You've got really short-term focus so you can punch out the things that need to get done. So we do that. So yeah, we're up at 6. You've got plan, you've got accountability, you've got badassery, of course. And you will also have a bit more time because you're going to be up a bit earlier. So if you want to kind of reverse this overwhelm and frustration and weirdness that's happened since COVID's kicked in, then I know that this is going to be super helpful. So the link is in the comments. If you're listening to the audio replay of this, the link is www.nicolaJmoras.com. That's really what I wanted to end for you. I've lost my sentence. That didn't come out right at all. Good morning, Jess. So there you go, my friends. So What do you need to do? Not measure the shit that doesn't matter. Focus on showing up, delivering value, letting people know how they can access more help from you, which is the activation piece, by either giving them something for free in exchange for their details or helping them to buy from you. They're the things that you should be measuring. They're the things that you should be focusing on. But the only way you can do that is by showing up wholeheartedly as you, sharing your gorgeous personality, your amazing wit, your very talented amazingness with the world. So what do you need to do? Well, you need to get out there. You need to go help some people. You need to have a whole ton of fun doing it. And remember, the world is ready for your brand of awesomeness. Have a great day, everybody. And I will speak with you tomorrow.